Welcome, everyone, to the Sonoma Spiel. This is Tim, and so glad you're joining us today. It's filming. We're taping this in late August or mid-August, and the beginning of harvest is going on, which is kind of exciting. And there's a lot of excitement and grape trucks, and it's about to become the crazy for the next 3 months, and everything in Sonoma Valley is very exciting. But today I have a very special guest. Somebody who brings the sound of laughter to Sonoma Valley. And not just because when they walk in the door, everyone starts laughing, but because they are a major producer and a person who gets stuff done. Lisa Pidge. Lisa, how are you?
Hi, Tim. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Always fun to see you.
And why are you here? What's the name of your company? Who are you?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for this?
Buckle your seatbelts.
We are the Laugh Cellar, powered by Crushers of Comedy.
Okay, so Laugh Cellar is the name of the company.
Yes.
Crushers of Comedy is the...
we started as Crushers of Comedy. Okay. And we actually started during the Harvest Crush season.
Smart idea. Yeah, because there's nothing going on. So it's like everyone's got so much time on their hand.
Well, there was no comedy, so...
Right. Yeah. There's nothing funny about harvest.
Have you ever worked harvest?
I've never worked in a vineyard in harvest, but in the tourism space, which is closely aligned with agriculture here in Sonoma Valley,
yes.
It's maniacal.
Yes.
It's crazy. And because I live in wine country, half my neighbors are in the wine business.
Yes.
And they get that funny little twitch in their eye. They're like, ah. So no, I have not. Have you worked at harvest?
I have not actually worked, but I have, tons of friends that, own wineries and winemakers. So I've actually gone and just watched and took video for them at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
It's nuts.
So nuts. My gosh.
And then you can see, I always love this, seeing up on the hills, the harvesting going on, the light trucks are going by.
Yes.
Right. And you're like, what's going on? Are those space aliens? Or because people are just, I saw lights on the fields. And you're like, no, those were people working their tails off, harvesting Pinot Noir grapes. Right.
Yes.
So it wasn't hot and stuff like that. So they can bring it in at 7 in the morning or something like that to crush them. And
yeah, I see. I live in Kenwood. So there's so much excess noise in the valley, like the fans and the thing and everything. And it's like the helicopters. No, it's a fan.
I do love that next door. Why are there helicopters that were hovering over the field? And you're like, no, did you notice the big vineyard fan?
Yes.
For those that don't know, it's for frost protection. It keeps the frost from settling on the grapes or the tender shoots.
Yes.
Usually in the spring.
Oh, I love that. Tender shoots. Hey, we have a fan out there. Shoots. Hey there.
What's up? Big shout out. I think it's the Western show that's going to happen next door. Oh. Everyone should listen to the Western show on KSVY with George Weber and CW. Yeah,
yes, I love West. What, country?
No, literally, we have both kinds, country and Western. No, it's like they do a Western radio show.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Oh, they talk about old Western film and
it's
I'm really confused on this Western.
It is like the old back in the day of old radio shows.
Oh,
they have an old radio style show.
Okay,
that's
a radio
Western. Come here, Rusty. We got to get to the train in time. And then Rusty's like, dag nabbit. It's the same voice. I'm not very good at it. You should listen to them.
Very cool.
But yeah, they have a show.
If they say dag nabbit, gotta listen.
All the time. Okay, so Crushers of Comedy, dag nabbit. How did you guys started at Harvest? What's the story?
Yeah, so we started in the harvest season of 2014.
Okay.
And I had been in the entertainment industry, right out of college.
Okay.
And then I worked at a very big talent management company in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I lived right across the store from the Comedy Store.
Okay.
So I made a lot of great friends, but if you're listening, I listen to you. They're like, I don't know. You better go back and get,
something practical, Lisa.
Yeah. So I was like, huh. So I went back and I got an emergency teaching credential during that time.
Okay.
I think at that time you just had to take the CBEST. I don't know if is CBEST even existing now? I don't even know.
No, now in Florida, you just got to have barely a heartbeat, I guess.
You just have to have a twang. Go.
Okay, you can be a teacher. No,
okay, so I taught for a little bit, and then I just, I wanted to go back into, entertainment and some point. But I had gone off and done other things. I owned my own company in New York City, and I moved back from New York in 2013.
Okay.
And so my family, is here and everything. And
okay, so you're local. You're from here.
Yeah, I grew up in San Francisco.
Okay.
And then my parents moved up, they always had property up in up in wine country. So then we eventually moved here. They built a house, and then we came up here and lived permanently. But they both worked in the city, so they both commuted to San Francisco.
They would commute down. Okay, but you went to high school and stuff in the North Bay.
Yeah, in Santa Rosa.
Okay.
Yeah, in
your
Santa Rosa.
formative years.
Yes, those geeky teenage years were.
Right.
I mean, when I first moved up here from San Francisco, I think it was 7th grade. Like I literally ate lunch by myself every day for like a year because I had come from San Francisco. It was so different.
Kid.
I had like funky clothes on. People were like, who is she?
Right.
Like,
they were
what's
all
going
country
on?
and you were all city.
Yes. Yeah. So I really didn't connect with anybody. So I just like ate lunch by myself. But I was an athlete. So eventually I got to, play sports, and then I became the most popular girl in the school. Oh my gosh. I mean, what am I going to say? I don't know. No, I really actually did.
This is like a Northern California John Hughes film. I love it. Yeah.
What are we talking about anyway? Okay, comedy.
Wait. Crushes a comedy. You were like a teacher, evidently, and somehow you came back from New York.
Yeah.
Where you were doing talent management or something.
Yeah, I worked in LA, so I had a lot of experience. And when I came back to a wine country, I just wanted something. I just wanted to change. I wanted to do something different, and so I called up some of my comedian friends in LA, and I said, "Hey, I want to launch this comedy production called Crushers of Comedy. It's going to be in wine country during the Harvest Crush season." So I just called a bunch of friends. They all came up from LA. They slept on my living room floor, and we had a show in Kenwood. It's where we're based, Kenwood, the Sonoma Valley, the best valley in the world, in my opinion.
And the sprawling major metropolis of Kenwood, which has one stoplight.
We have one stoplight at Warm Springs, yes.
And dinosaurs.
I always avoid that, but I go around. But yeah, so I invited comedians up. We had a show in Sonoma Valley.
Where'd you guys perform?
It was a small restaurant in Kenwood.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm not plugging any restaurants.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Is it no longer there?
No, it's there. It's in the Kenwood Village. It's called Palooza.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we had a show there. We could fit 90 people. We sold it out at 90 seats, and then we never looked back. And so at that point, I was like, I got to find, a bigger venue.
Right. Like 95 people.
Yeah.
big.
102. So we moved over to Deerfield Ranch Winery.
Okay.
They have a beautiful crush pad. We started comedy on the crush pad.
Wait, so in the middle of harvest season, you're taking over their crush pad?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. They have Robert Rex, who's the winemaker and owner of Deerfield. He's so amazing to work with. They always have the bins, right?
Right.
And I always used to go early on show days and be like, Robert, what about the bins? And he gets out there with his cigar, and he's got the forklift, and he's moving the bins. And we kind of actually lined it a little bit. Only problem is the bees, so we don't want, but we make it, it's wine country. So it's a wine country comedy.
It's a working winery.
Yeah. So as much, wine centric stuff that we can have around. They have a beautiful 23,000 square foot wine cave that we do our shows in as well.
Oh, so you do them inside the cave as well?
Yeah. So summer we are on the crush pad for comedy on the crush pad. Mm-hmm. Beautiful views of the Mayacama Mountains.
Okay.
Is it Mayacama or Mayacamas?
And also Mayacamas.
It
It literally all depends on where you're from.
Okay.
It's like in California we say almond or almond depending on where you're born.
Hold on, I never heard that.
Well, what do you call them?
Almond?
Yeah, because you're from the coast. But if you actually where they grow, they call them almonds.
Almonds.
Sacramento Valley people, they call them almonds.
Wow, that's really great trivia.
Yeah,
thank you, Tim. This is amazing. I'm going to go around saying almonds.
So it's either the Mayacamas or the Mayacamas.
You want to know something really funny?
What's that?
You can't. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have a pocket full of almonds right here.
What you do have?
I always carry almonds in my pocket.
You never lessons from the Donner Party from a California kid. Why do you have a pocket full of almonds?
I don't want to. I because I just want to pop an almond.
Are you one of those keto people?
No, I'm not keto, but I love almonds. I love cashews, and so I always throw a few in my pocket before I leave the house.
You literally have a pocket full of nuts, which sounds so wrong. So you walk a pocket full of nuts.
Oh my
Are you
gosh.
playing with nuts in your pocket? Yes, they're almonds.
Yes.
They're cashews. They're Brazil nuts.
People say, is that a nut in your pocket or just happy to see me? No, that's a bad joke. I carry almonds in my pocket.
Okay, almonds. Good job. All right, so you can see the Mayacamas Mountains from Deerfield Ranch.
Yeah, the crush pad. So comedy on the crush pad. People can bring a picnic.
Okay.
You buy wine.
Okay.
And you have this beautiful backdrop of those mountains.
Right. And
we bring, great headliners from Los Angeles, New York, all over the country, actually. We just had a great headliner from Tennessee. She was amazing. JJ Barrows, if you're out there, we want you back.
What's up, JJ? You were fantastic.
JJ!
The best.
Come back. And then in the winter, we move to Comedy in the Cave, and we move into the Wine Cave.
Okay.
So,
Troglodyte comedy. Comedy in the Cave.
Yeah, Comedy in the Cave.
Where do you find these people?
When we first started, I would just through friends. I mean, because I had so many friends who were comedians, they would just recommend people. And it still is that way now. I go to LA a lot and I go to lots of comedy shows and scout talent. Obviously you can find talent on YouTube, but mostly recommendations, like we actually, not to like tout, or is it tout your horn or whatever? Toot your horn.
Toot your horn. Tout your credentials.
Toot your horn with almonds in your pocket. A lot of people love doing our show because we're wine country. So it's all about an experience. They love to come up. We always try and get them to come up like a day earlier. We arrange a wine tasting for them if they want. Drinking on wine days. Though.
I have visitor guides if you guys need them.
Oh yes. We'll put visitor guides.
Our brand new visitor guide now available at sonomavalley.com.
I just wanted to let you know right now. I just noticed the cameras are not on anymore.
Oh, they should be on. No, I think I see the red lights thinking here.
Okay.
We're going to find out. It'll be
if you can see this.
We're only making TikToks. We're not making YouTube videos. So enjoy your 12 and a half seconds of dancing.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they come up and, the comedians love to hang out in wine country. Sometimes, like, if they have more time, I'll take them behind the scenes because, they love to take a tour of the winery or meet the winemaker.
Right.
And people just love coming up to do our show. And when we first started, I was booking a lot of female comedians, and a lot of the comedians from LA had never even been to a winery, and so it was really fun, just to introduce.
Look at my face. They've never been to a winery.
I know, we think that everybody, because living in wine country, I grew up here. My dad has a ton of friends that are winemakers and winery, and you just think, oh, everyone's been to a winery, but it's like no.
Every day it's funny at the visitor center. People you forget this. We want to go see a winery. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're everywhere. But for them, it's a huge deal.
Yes.
And what's cool about Sonoma, of course, it's very accessible, right?
Yes.
So if you're going to take your comedians, you know someone, or you can walk up and go, can I see what a crush pad looks like? And here it is. This is how we make our wine.
Yeah.
It's. That's kind of cool to get the chance to share that with them.
To share it with men. And the view is so amazing. Like, it's like, a lot of comedians, being a comedian is a grind. I mean, like, they are traveling. They're like stopping here. A lot of times after they leave us, they'll go to Sacramento. Then they'll head up to Portland. They'll go over to Idaho. And they always come and like, Lisa, my God, this is incredible. Like, I get to stay in this beautiful hotel. By the way, El Pueblo Inn, our hotel
really?
sponsor.
That's a great
partner.
place.
We
great
love them.
Right there. Nice people.
We love
like
them.
That spot.
They're so awesome.
So they're not sleeping on your couch anymore.
Not anymore. That was just the first year. But then we moved into the big leagues. But it was fun. We had a house full of comedians during the earthquake. I think that was, what year was that? Maybe it was like 2015. When did we have our big earthquake?
The Napa earthquake?
Yeah, Napa earthquake. Oh, God, it was horrible.
I think it was 15.
15, yeah. And it was fun.
Just a note from the tourism board. There's never any natural disasters in Sonoma Valley in California.
It wasn't even in Sonoma Valley. It was in the other valley.
All the way over in Napa.
Where they make auto parts, not wine.
We love Napa dearly.
Yes, we do. I do shows in Napa.
I know you do shows.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
You have a show coming up, actually this weekend, I think, Jeff Capri in Sonoma Valley. And then the next week, you go over to Napa Valley.
Yes.
So here you're at Deerfield Ranch. Where do you do your shows in Napa?
We do our shows at the Mayacamas Resort.
Okay.
We started at Charles Krug Winery in St. Helena.
They do a lot of concerts and stuff up there.
They do now. They have the Blue Note now. And we were there for like 4 years. I love the Mondavi family. They're such an incredible, gracious, they're amazing people. They own that winery. And we started there. And then, COVID hit. And so we were...
COVID.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
I don't know. Should I mention there was a pandemic? And so when we came back, they were, it was hard for wineries too because everyone lost staff and everyone's getting their footing even 2 years later. And so the Meritage and Vista Colina reached out to us and they wanted to bring comedy. And so we were there now.
And the resort itself? At
the resort.
Okay.
Yeah. And we also I developed a show there that I just love and it's actually becoming very popular. It's called Cooking with Comedians.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, is there a kitchen that they cook at?
So I've been conceptualizing this idea of cooking with comedians. I wanted there's a ton of, comedians that cook on TV with chefs but this is a live show and we're wine country. We have so much to offer here, local produce, local food, everything. And so I had been thinking about this for years. And then when Meritage called me and said, hey, we want to offer stand-up, I said, great. I went over, took a tour of the property and they have this incredible food and wine center. It's a test kitchen.
Gotcha.
They do cooking classes.
Demonstrations, got it.
Demos there. Yeah. So I talked to it's family owned still too. So I talked to talked to the manager, the general manager, and I told him about the idea, and he goes, "Can we do that once a week?" I said, "Can we just try once a month?"
Yeah.
And it's great. It's incredible. It's a comedian with one of their 5-star chefs there, and it's a little bit stand-up.
Does the comedian bring like a recipe they like, or is it like the chef just surprises the comedian with something?
So it's they fix the menu. It's a 3-course meal.
Oh, so people are eating the food too?
Yeah. We have an audience. We can fit 36 to 40 in the test kitchen.
Okay.
And so Chef Brian Gardner is our main chef, and he thinks of all the recipes, and is amazing. Sometimes I'm like, Brian, you cannot be funnier than the comedians. He's so amazing.
Right.
But it starts with the comedian starts with a little stand up, maybe about 5 minutes. Just because get people loose. Right. Everyone's got their glass of wine when they walk in, or beer, cocktail, whatever. Right. And then she, or he or she's like, "Let's start cooking." And the chef comes out. He starts demoing all the dishes, and then each plate is dropped. The comic is bantering with
the comics, not themselves cooking, dicing.
They are sometimes they do.
Okay.
For COVID, we kind of they didn't want a lot of touching, and, so it's mostly just commentary.
Okay.
It's hilarious. People love it.
Okay.
And then they drop the course, and people get to we turn the music up. People enjoy. We get we have a lot of bachelorette parties that come and birthday parties.
Okay.
That course is finished. They take the course, and then comic goes back up. They cook. They prepare the next course.
Okay.
So it's really fun. Yeah. And the audience can ask questions.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually really laid back too. I mean, we invite the audience to go in the kitchen if you want to stand around the cooktop and watch.
And they can see it from where they're sitting.
Yeah, we have big video screens above every chair. You should come out. Can you be my guest at our next Thing with Comedians?
I would love to be your guest. I would love to be your guest.
We have our next Cooking with Comedians August 26th.
Okay.
It's a Friday. It's always on a Friday.
Okay.
And it's Kabir Singh. And I don't know if you know Kabir Singh.
No, but I see.
He's amazing.
Do I see his name? No. Did he?
Kabir. So Friday, he's right on the cooking part.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I think your camera. Hold on here. I think it. Are you still on the camera?
I can't see myself.
You can't. No. Can you see yourself now?
No.
Oh, hold on. Let me touch it. You went.
There I go.
Oh my gosh! Now you're sideways. Hold on.
Wow.
Wait.
Are those bags I'm looking at?
No, you look great. You look great.
I actually applied a little cover up this morning.
Did you?
Just for you, Tim.
Thank you so much. Because typical in Sonoma, we always dress up in our finery and the stuff there.
I know. It's very casual around here.
Okay, so people do Cooking with Comedians.
Yeah.
Over in Napa. You've also got alternating them between Sonoma and Napa, the Crushers of Comedy, wine country style.
Yeah. Well, we do. So in Napa, it's Cooking with Comedians on Friday night.
Okay.
And then the same comedian the next night in their vintner's room or in their wine cave.
Oh, and that's why I see Kabir Singh here.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
So he's there. The comics there Friday for cooking, and then the next night they have a regular stand-up show.
Got it. So they do 2 shows in a weekend there with you guys. Wow, you make it work hard over there.
They're really great crew over there.
That's pretty good.
And it's wine-centric too, because our next show, Act for Kabir, it's in the wine cave.
Okay.
And there's actually 2 wineries on site there.
Right.
So they sponsor a lot of our shows. They like the last show they brought in. They did tasting for all the guests and. And people love it. For cooking, it's mostly out of towners, and people staying at the resort.
Right.
And people always leave, and they're like, "Gosh, that was so fun!" It's like you get laughter, you get great meal, you get great wine,
right.
You learn tips.
You're like
you really
another day in wine
tips.
country every day. It's like this every day, every day. I have a quick question for you then.
Yeah.
So other people coming up, I see Pauline Yasuda.
Yeah.
A guy named Jose Sardui. Mm-hmm. And then over in Napa, you've got Carrie Pomeroli.
Yes.
Sorry, Carrie, for mispronouncing your name there. And then you've got something down in Palm Springs.
Yeah, so our new venture is we bring wine country to Palm Springs.
Okay.
So we present comedy and wine nights at the Kimpton Rowan in downtown Palm Springs on the rooftop, and we bring a winery partner with us.
Got it.
Yeah, and so
this is sort of like how the wineries used to do cruise ships, right?
Yeah.
And they go there and said, "You're just going down to Palm Springs."
Yeah, we go down to Palm Springs. Smart. We usually have a winemaker. We had Angeline Mondavi. She's a great friend. She came down with us. She brings her wine and she presents a tasting.
Okay.
And then after the tasting, we move into the main room and we have our comedy show, and people can buy a bottle that they like from the tasting, bring it to their table.
Smart
and
idea. Okay. I like it.
We have our next show in Palm Springs is September 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you keep all that stuff in your head?
I don't know. And I have a 5-year-old too. It's like, oh my gosh.
I know. So, okay, but you're not a comedian yourself, you said.
I am not. No, okay. I worked in the management side of, talent industry.
Were you one of those cutthroat agent types of people?
I was just an assistant. So,
no, be honest.
I left the entertainment industry on the management side and the agency side because it was too cutthroat for me.
Was it?
I had so many hard times working at, it's hard. Agents and managers, I don't think it's that way today because people are a little more chill, but back then it was just like, what are you doing? Like, why did you, Whoopi was on that call and, Whoopi Goldberg was one of our clients, my boss's client.
Did you say something wrong at one time and like?
No, nothing. It's just like you have to be on all the time. You can't, and you're rolling calls and you're, everything is so urgent and I just couldn't take it.
And you're like, we're just making a TV show here, people. We're not in the ER, right? Like we're not literally saving lives. It's just.
Yeah, it was really, you've probably seen a show called Swimming with Sharks. If you haven't seen that, that's an old film. It's probably from the 80s, but it's about like the life of a talent agent, an assistant to a major talent agent, and how this guy like captures his boss and like holds him captive and ties him up. Well, I still have friends in the business who are now have gone on to become producers and they're agents now. And, we talk about those times.
Right.
Like, I remember one time I had to go to the emergency room. I had the worst ulcer. I was like, and it was just because so much stress.
You had stress. And you were like, what, in your 20s or 30s?
I was in my 20s. Yeah. Like just
that's not
mid-20s.
Healthy.
I know.
That's not healthy.
Yeah. It was kind of crazy. So, but I've always loved, that's, the side, the entertainment industry.
But you were never a performer. Like in high school, you weren't in Oklahoma or something like that.
No, I was never a theater geek or anything like that. I was always behind the scenes. I was always the one who managing everying, which is what a producer does.
Right. Running the front office, making sure tickets were sold.
Yes.
Stuff was happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't do music. Like you chose comedy instead of like, or do people do stand-up soliloquies? That sounds kind of boring, but like why comedians and not banjo players?
I love comedy. I've always loved comedy. I grew up in a family where I had the type of parents who I'd come home from practice and my parents would be sitting on the dinner table with bras on their head and they would act like nothing was going on, and I'd be like, oh, hi. And I'd bring friends home and they'd just be, I'd be like, yeah, they did. That's a true story. I came home and I brought a couple friends from, high school or whatever. And my parents were eating. They're like, hi, how you guys doing? They have bras on their head. And, they were silly, and my mom is very silly. And so we just always loved to laugh.
Okay.
But I was voted class clown
in
high school.
Okay, so you did have a sense of humor or a performance streak.
Yeah, but I was an athlete. So
I was an athlete. Would you play soccer or what?
Sure, my lesbian is really coming out. My butch side is coming out, people.
No, what sport did you play?
I played basketball.
You played basketball.
Tennis.
Nice.
Volleyball.
All of them. Keep going.
And don't laugh.
Badminton.
Yes.
You were a badminton kid.
Yes.
I don't laugh because I've seen those guys. They move so fast.
Yes.
And
it's a tough sport.
It is.
We play in like the North Coast Championships and I would just get my butt whipped. Like I thought I was pretty good and I'd get slammed on.
This is kind of fun. There are sports in America that are drinking sports. Badminton and ping pong, and then you go to other countries, like where ping pong is like, I'm going to kill you with this ping pong ball,
Asian,
like in China or something like that.
China and Philippines.
Japan, Korea.
Like it's like crazy.
Yeah, they go serious, they go hard.
Yeah.
So look at that. You did all these sports, and then you're like, but you're the class clown.
Yeah, I was a class clown. And I always was a jokester, but I never, I never had any desire to be a comedian. I don't think I'm smart enough.
What?
Comics are they're the most intelligent people on the planet. I mean, a comic was just telling me a story about how he got hired for a job that's a really high profile job at a huge tech company. And he was like, I don't know why, I just was looking for a job and they hired me. And because the owner of the company was like, I know how smart comedians are and I know you're gonna be able to do this. So he was like, okay. And sure enough, guy was right. It just takes, creative brain power. Is
it because they have the ability to see, like a lot of comedy is based on absurdity, right? Like you have a certain situation and it's ridiculous. And so they kind of talk about, they laugh about it. Because you can laugh or you could cry.
Right.
Is it that they're so quick to size up a situation that's the sign of their intelligence? Or is it like they're really good at they're super mathematicians that we don't know about that's been untapped or something?
I think both. I think comedians have and this is this is not a negative on all my comedian family comedic family out there.
We love you all. We love you.
And I love every comedian that comes through. I love them. They're like family.
Right.
My child has been to every comedy club in LA, and she sits outside the comics watcher. I run in, I go scout a comic, she come out. And it's like
you're leaving your kid out there in Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, I trust them. I trust
like a 5-year-old.
My wife is there too. She's out there too.
Okay.
She's watching. Carly. Shout out to Carly.
Good job, Carly.
And what was your question? No, I think that comedians are very introspective. A lot of comedians have had very hard lives. They've dealt with a lot of adversity, a lot of challenges, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's, so they have a lot to tap into.
Okay.
And, so I think that comics are just, they're just really amazing people.
Hire a comedian is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
not all comedians are nice. I work with some doozies, but most of the comedians that I work with are, traveling comedians. I mean, we don't really book like headliners. I mean, we do have headliners, but not, I'm talking like, the
people who are like playing stadiums and the bigger stuff.
I have had them reached out to me and because comedians talk. I get after a show, like the next Monday, my inbox will get flooded with talent submissions because they have gone back to LA. They're like, I did this show in wine country. Lisa Pidge, she's the producer. You get this. She treats you like
it's amazing.
When you get there, she reserves a parking space for you. She has a box lunch for you. She has a bottle of wine.
Meanwhile, they're back in their LA studio eating like cold noodles, right?
Well,
and they're like, this is not what I want.
They had just come off a show, and the booker's like, sit there, don't move.
Right.
Basically, kind of thing, So I get a flood of it, and so I just, I think that we don't. So basically, I've had major comedians reach out to me,
right.
And I just was like, well, can you take 5 zeros off that?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, let me tell you what does it cost for someone to go to a show, right? Because like a major comedian will charge like $80-$90 to get a ticket. So is this like this even more? Is this the same thing for your shows, or what are they at?
It depends on the talent, but our general price is $32 to $34.
So that's manageable. That's like actually real for a date or a couple or whatever. You can get in there. Yes. And you're not like broke.
We have VIP tables, but that's, for a couple $100.
Okay.
But, and those always sell out. But, it's like a group that wants to get together with friends. But yeah, and I actually do get a lot of calls from people in town, in Sonoma County in general, like, why is your show 32 and I can go see the show? And I'm just like, well, I don't know. I'm paying my talent really well. It's a company.
No, 32 is a good price.
Yeah.
32 is a great price.
Yeah, I think so. We used to charge 28.
You direct those people to me. I will let them know.
Tim, you've always been such a huge supporter of ours.
Do you think podcasts are free, electricity and whatever?
Yeah.
Have you ever had them make wine? Well, you mentioned the cooking thing. Have you ever said, okay, you guys are now going to make wine, and so you give the comedians a chance to make their own wine? Because that would be a disaster.
We have had I've done some private label wine with comedians on the bottle.
But you didn't have them squishing the grapes and doing the process.
They haven't really squished. They've been like just in the barrel room or whatever and kind of done the punch down and stuff like that.
Well, a lot of people don't know wine countries, and the only way we make wine is Italian girls in red skirts barefoot, right? Because that's how we do it, right?
Yes.
There's they have a union.
Yeah, there's no additives or anything like that. It's very
quick, edit that out.
Yeah, we've thought, well, I guess I can reveal some of our intel. We have been pitching wine. So when we first started, 2015, a major production company reached out to us. They wanted to produce a reality show based on Crushers of Comedy. Oh. So I went to LA, met with them, brought a bunch of comedians with me, and we talked about it. And, and nothing ever happened. And my wife, Carly, and we always talk, like, it wasn't ready. We weren't ready yet. We had it was only like a year into the production.
Right.
But somebody that I worked with down in LA thought, she pitched it. She's like, they want to talk to you about this. And nothing panned out. I never followed through. They actually sent us home to shoot like our own pilot.
Got it.
Which we did.
You guys shot your own pilot.
Yes. And then I always say that it was really never meant to be because I hired these two guys from San Francisco and they ghosted us. They came up. It was in the cave at Deerfield. We had 8 comedians coming up from LA, and all of the comedians now, except for like 2 of them, are now just about to become super famous. And I just think, God, that would have been great. It probably wasn't right for them yet, right? Because they still had a lot to do. But we shot it in the cave, and we had interviews. And it was like, and then the
production guys didn't show up. The camera people.
They came. We shot it.
They didn't give you the film.
They didn't give us. I couldn't get in touch with them. Then they gave me the video portion, but if you don't, the audio you have to sync. So they record the audio separately. So
by the way, anyone watching this on YouTube knows that I cannot sync. So that's good. It's good you bring that up.
You cannot what?
I can't sync
you can't
audio.
sync.
I do a horrible job of it. So,
oh, okay. It's hard to sync. Yeah, I do some editing too. It's like, oh my God, it's like the mouth doesn't match.
Bob always yells at me, like, just imagine it's like an old Japanese Godzilla movie. It's fine. It's just, we're fine. We're cool, man. It's Saturday matinee.
That is very true. My Netflix is doing that right now in one of our TVs. It's like the mouth doesn't match the...
No, actually, you're having a stroke.
What? Don't say
you smell
that.
toast?
Knock on wood. Oh my gosh.
No, sorry, go ahead. So
I'm kidding.
you almost had a TV show, but the guys ghosted you.
The guys ghosted us.
Right.
And then he's like, okay. Then he sent me the video and there's no sound. And then he sent us the audio.
Right.
But you couldn't hear it. So then...
That's another feature I make in my podcast is not being able to hear. Actually, it sounds like I was the person. So sorry for that. No. So,
was it you?
It was me. Was his name Schmim? Yeah, that's my alter ego.
It was Schmim, everybody.
Hello, Schmim.
No, it didn't work. And then we had one of the comedians try and work it. It didn't work. So I just said, and then the production company, ITV, they just never got in touch with us. So I said, you know what, let's just let it go. So right now we are in the middle of pitching again.
Okay.
And we've had 2 meetings and we have a couple more coming up.
Okay.
It's all about, the networks giving out their mandates of what they're looking for.
Right.
And
what's hot, what's going to be trendy and stuff like that. So you're telling me the Kardashians are going to put you in that's what I'm hearing.
Well, I don't want to have anything to do with the Kardashians, but I mean, no offense to the Kardashians.
Right. I'm sure they're lovely people and
yes,
stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. I did promise one thing to you.
Yes.
You're not a comedian.
No.
You're not. But and you're not a dad. You're a mom.
Yes.
But I'm a dad.
I don't know. I could be a dad sometimes. What are you talking about?
Whatever you need. I will get you the cargo shorts that come with being a dad. I torture my kids with bad dad jokes.
Okay, let's hear them.
Okay, so I've got a couple here, and if you don't like them, but if they're good, I'm willing to do a show.
Okay.
But it has to be in the Walmart parking lot. Okay.
Okay.
The dad's hanging out. Okay. So Lisa.
Yes, go for it.
3 fish are in a tank, and one looks to the other and says, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" It's so dumb. Lisa, do you like music?
Yes, I love music,
Lisa,
of course.
What genre are national anthems?
I don't know. But bump, you tell me.
Country.
Oh, gosh. Okay, give me another one.
Another one? Okay, my wife found out that I was cheating on her after she found all the letters I was hiding. Yeah, she got mad and said she's never playing Scrabble with me again.
Oh my gosh.
No, not good. Not good.
I mean, there are. You could get up if you had like 100 of these.
Yeah, 100 of them.
Yeah, and you just got up on stage and you kept telling one.
Right, just real
liner.
fast.
Oh, you'd
just
be a
do
hit.
it. It'd be like sort of like Mitch Hedberg and his observational stuff, but not funny. It'd be just like it, but not, or Stephen Wright, but not funny. I'm showing you my age, so I'm like comedians.
Be authentic. Everybody
right
needs to know everyone's age. I hate when people try to hide their age.
Right.
Just
no.
Okay.
Speaking of age, I ask you a question. You're gonna do something right now.
Yes. Tell me.
Open up your phone contacts. You're not gonna read the names.
Okay.
Type in these 4 letters. Ready?
Hold on. I have to go into my contacts.
Contacts.
Okay.
Yeah, contacts.
Go for it. Okay. Add new.
No. Just you're gonna search.
Okay. Go ahead.
Search. Ready?
Yeah.
Type in these letters. LISA.
What?
Type in LISA.
Okay, I did.
How many are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm not saying 11. You're not original.
I have myself 13. I have 14 Lisas.
If you are a Gen Xer,
yes,
I guarantee have more than 5 Lisas in your phone right now. I guarantee it.
Really? But Lisa, I was born in 1969, and at that time, we're Gen X.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Duh, Gen X.
Yeah.
I had a brain fart there. My mom said at that time, it wasn't a very popular name. That's why she chose it.
Right. But I'm going to point something out to you. You're 2 years. You're the same age as one of my sisters. Okay. My other sister's 2 years younger than him. Her name is Lisa. Okay. Her best friend growing up was Lisa.
Oh, my goodness.
Our next door neighbor, her name was Lisa.
Or Elizabeth. No.
Or Elizabeth. Yeah. Trick. So it's, I do own the Lisa thing came to me when I was like, just one day I was like trying to call my sister. I'm like, oh, my neighbor's named Lisa and the other neighbor. I'm like, There's a lot of Lisas in the world, but you're the only Lisa that matters right now.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, Lisa.com. Did you say you own the URL Lisa.com?
Does someone own that?
I don't know. I should check. I'm sure they do.
I don't know. The internet thing probably won't catch on. Let me ask you this. If people want to know how to get tickets or information or stuff like that, other than Lisa.com, where should they go to find out about the Crushers of Comedy?
Crushersofcomedy.com.
Crushersofcomedy.com.
Yeah, or laughseller.com.
Or laughseller.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to, this is crazy, are you going to try to build a physical club again and have a spot? Or is this a better concept? Or am I asking you something that's painful, and thanks for dredging that up, Tim?
No, I appreciate you asking me. We are not. When we had our actual physical comedy club, the Laugh Cellar, the fires really hurt, and it was, and so we went back to our roots.
And you guys were up there.
Skyhawk, yeah. Okay. And we went back to our roots, and it's just so much more of an experience. It's like we were wine country comedy, and it was really tough. That space was small. We could only do like 90 seats, which was really hard for us, you know.
Plus you have constant overhead, right? Like you have a lease.
Yes.
And so the offside is now you really got to hustle to pay that.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of freedom to it too. I mean, we could do whatever we wanted. We weren't at the mercy, because the wineries have busy schedules. They have their own events as well.
They also make wine.
Yes, they make wine, and and we're always working around, and they're great. We're always, our partners. I mean, we do shows. We've done shows at Landmark, St. Anne's.
Okay.
We've done shows at a lot of wineries in the Sonoma Valley. But then, after COVID, so many. And this is understandable. A lot of wineries had their own initiatives that they had to cancel during COVID, wine club parties, all these things. They wanted to get those.
And a lot of weddings were backed up.
Yeah, weddings.
A lot of weddings.
Yeah, and so Deerfield is the only place we have been since we reopened after COVID.
Okay.
We are going to start doing shows at Buena Vista Winery again here in the town of Sonoma. Yeah, we used to do shows there all the time. And so, again, they had a lot of initiative. I mean, they do so many events over at Buena Vista. And so they were just trying to work through and getting through all those events. And now they want to revisit. John Charles loves the shows there. He just, thinks it's a fun addition to.
And he's a showman himself.
Yeah.
Right? Like even when he's got these crazy different rooms, and he's known for his socks, and
he has great socks.
He's
I love
a character.
His socks. Socks are also a sign of intelligence. They are. I read this article.
Like wearing
in New York
socks
Times.
or not wearing socks?
Wearing really fun, funky, unique socks.
Oh, really?
People who wear those they found they have high IQs. There's an article. I read in the New York Times.
It's got to be true.
It's an article.
Brought to you by the Fancy Socks Association of America.
Hey, Tim, I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Well, before I lose this thought, you're onto something. I think one of our shows, you should be the opener.
Me?
Yeah, we could, director of our, who directs all this amazing tourism here in our beautiful valley? God. Tim, and he's going, and Zahner, he's going to, and you just do a bunch of fun one-liners.
Just bad one-liners.
3 minutes.
Just spiel real fast.
3 minutes. It'll be amazing.
And they're all like grape-themed dumb jokes.
Yes. Yes, you'll get a lot of laughs. I guarantee you. I'll make sure of it.
If I work for an hour, I can come up with 3 minutes of material for
3
you.
minutes is a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah. I help new comedians. A lot of people, I work with them, and I let, people will come up and say, they'll email me, do you have an open mic? And I say, I don't have an open mic, but how about we do this? I'll let you come on to one of my big shows for 2 minutes. It's better.
Oh.
You'll be in front of hundreds of people. You'll feel it.
We could try it out.
Yeah, because open mics, it's like if you're the last comedian and everyone else in the audience is an open micer and they do their set and they leave, you're the last one. You're performing to nobody.
That's there is an open mic up in Santa Rosa at Brew Coffee Shop.
Yeah,
and they have comedians,
I love Brew.
And it's kind of funny because open mic is also though like you might have an accordion player.
Yeah.
And then like someone does like a really sad poem.
Yeah.
And then you're walking up there and you're like, speaking of dead grandmas.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this doesn't really work,
God,
right?
I know, it's hard.
So that's nice of you to do that. You're an incubator for comedy.
There's a girl who's home from college right now. She goes to a university down south and she lives in Santa Rosa and she's home from college. She's been on to several of our shows and
really
she loves it's great. She's like a teenager and she's.
Do you guys have like a YouTube channel too, or Instagram, or any of those social medias?
We do. We don't have YouTube, but we do Instagram, the Laugh Cellar.
Okay.
Yeah, and Facebook the same.
And so people can kind of see. Do you ever show some of the show, like little snippets of the shows, as allowable by copyright law, blah blah blah? Or?
No, I never show any videos of performers, and they appreciate that. And we have an announcement before the shows. Please no video of the performers.
Okay.
We're trying to bring back the ownership. A lot of times people in the audience, they think it's fun to like record the comedy and then put it on their social media, and it's really not their content.
They're kind of clout chasing. They're stealing the humor.
A lot of comedians ask me, in their contract, please no video. Or, if I do want to use a little snippet, I'll have to get their approval first. I even get approval on their promotional shots, because I want to make sure that they feel that they're represented the best way out in public. And,
you don't want the weird face, the screen grab or something like that.
Yeah, even the bios too, make sure it's all up to date and that they have everything in there that they want to put out there.
So you're being nice to people in show business? Did you learn nothing from your time in LA?
Oh my gosh, I know.
I thought you were supposed to be like throwing lattes against the wall.
That's why I'm not making the millions of dollars now. I could be exploiting these comedians,
Exactly, you
but
idiot.
I do get asked a lot to be managed talent. And I have in the past, done it for a short while, but it's after I had, Gigi, I just don't have time.
And that's what, you're married, you have a child.
Yeah.
Your wife, she's a hairdresser, right?
Yeah, she's not a hairdresser.
Is that the right term to use?
Yeah, hairdresser, stylist,
cosmetologist.
Yeah, she's all of it above.
Oh, yeah.
Beautifier.
They make the stuff that I don't have on top of your head magic.
Well, she could dye that gray.
She could? Thanks. So I've been working for years on this. I have leases in my contacts to show how old I am to let you know that I've earned this gray. So yeah.
You should never dye the gray, although I do.
Ooh. You don't? No. You know what's funny? My wife doesn't do that sort of stuff, and so I'm blind to it. I'm stupid. I don't know how women work often, and so when someone will do something, like if you did something to your hair and you didn't want me to know about it,
right?
I'm so dumb. I'm like, oh my God, Lisa, what'd you do to your head? Right? And my wife she's like, you're so dumb.
Don't talk about that.
Yeah, but I'm like, but look, it's different. It's like a different color now. Or like when people get, and no one ever does, but the stuff done on their face with the needles.
Botox?
Botox.
Yes.
I'm always like, something looks different with you. And my wife's like, you're such an idiot. So.
You mean their forehead's like very smooth and yeah.
And surprised.
I have to admit, I have had Botox.
You look great no matter what. I embrace whatever you want. But so is your wife still working in the beauty business?
She is not. She had always been a part-time health coach. COVID, She decided to change careers, so she went back and got her coaching nutrition certification. Okay. Now she's a health coach and she has a ton of clients. Okay. She can do it from home. She doesn't have to go to the salon. She coaches people all over the country, actually.
Oh, good. Okay.
And she's loving it because my wife, Carly, is one of the most positive people I know. She's always uplifting people.
That probably helps you, though, because running a business with a lot of ups and downs. Yeah. It's probably good to have a partner.
She's great.
Lisa, we can do it.
She has actually a good gut instinct too. It's something that I think it's so amazing that she has she knows, and she's always right. Wait
a minute. Do you want me to record that for you later? Yeah. She'll play that. She's always right.
Keep
Carly is always right. Always right.
About people. She'll say, I think that
the gut feeling.
Yes. And then I'll say, I'm just going to give it a try. And then, of course, she backfires on me and then she's right. But yeah, so she's a health coach. She does amazing. She actually has some comedians that she's coaching right now because they are in front of the people all the time.
Stressful.
In front of the camera and live on stage, and so she's helped a lot of comedians get back into a healthy lifestyle.
You guys are kind of in a complementary field now. That's good. Yeah, and as partners, you're running this business, but she's helping you, and it sounds like your daughter is also your assistant talent scout.
She comes to shows from times. Yeah, she's.
Do you ever do earmuffs? You're like, we're not going to talk about that word at home, or
she doesn't come to the actual show. She'll come pre-show, and because you got to remember, she was in the belly when we were putting shows on, and so I remember.
So her internship was in utero. She's there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We had when she was 4 weeks old. We had a show at Landmark Vineyards in Kenwood, and we brought her to the show because everybody was emailing, is Gigi going to be there? And we're like, okay, we're going to bring a 4-week-old to a comedy show. Sure. I'm not kidding you not. She had a procession of people in line wanting to see her because they had seen her. They had been waiting for baby G to come out.
Babies and puppies.
Yeah.
Two things everyone can agree upon. They're fantastic. Yes. They love them.
So people know G, and
nice.
she comes to our shows at Deerfield, and she'll help with the check-in, and she'll she gets to run around the crush pad. She knows a lot of our guests because
right. A lot of them come back. The locals.
I would say 75% of the a show is not 75%, but maybe 55%. Are repeat. They just because it's their monthly fun.
Yeah.
You know, and they live right there.
Right.
And they can bring their picnic and they can have their wine and on a Saturday night and
the price is right.
Price is right. Be close to home, you know?
Right.
And so she goes and runs around the audience. And then once the show starts, Carly packs her up and drives her home 30 seconds. And then she gets really mad about, you know.
I want to stick around.
Yeah.
Well, I hope, when she is 21 and it's 21 to go to the shows. Yeah, because you get drinking.
Yeah, we do accept 18 plus.
Okay, so
as long as you don't drink.
When she's old enough to, I'm hoping and I'm sure that Crushers of Comedy will be going on long after she's of legal age to come to the shows and maybe running it later or what she chooses to do.
Or maybe she'll be a rock star. I don't know. I kind of want her to be a drummer or I want her to be a pro surfer.
Yeah. Okay.
So either one's fine.
What is it, the School of Rock? Isn't that like a place in Santa Rosa where
that place is great.
They teach kids how to do rock and stuff? And they are okay. So you can sign. I love it that like Gen X parents are like, I wish my kid was a rock star. Whereas our parents are like, why are you not studying math? And you're like,
why aren't you a teacher?
Yeah. Jeez. What could have been?
Gosh.
Two of my.
How did you get? Yeah. Like were you always in marketing or PPR?
No. I majored in college in like the most useful degree in philosophy.
Well, that's
English.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just did freelance writing and a bunch of stuff. And
philosophy is very useful.
It's useful. It doesn't pay well. No.
Unless you're a professor.
Like, well, let's think about money. No. So I did not go into or I chose a field that's very broad. I should say liberal arts. Did some writing and substitute teaching. I taught bilingual woodshop in Milwaukee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing at all, both in the language of Spanish and in woodshop.
Oh, my gosh.
But I did do a little bit of woodshop in high school because I was only cast in one play. But so I'd help out with the other ones.
Well, I have to tell you, woodshop is not a subject anymore. They don't even offer woodshop or car mechanics.
Kids these days, they don't teach you anything.
Didn't they have auto shop?
Well,
woodshop?
It's coming back. They're calling it, but now they call it CTE, Career Technical Education.
Okay.
So by the time your child is in like high school, they have realized that going to college and getting a bunch of student debt isn't for everybody.
Yes.
And so they're kind of like, maybe we should actually have plumbers because pro tip, having someone that knows what to do with poop is a smart thing for a city.
Yes.
Right? At the end of the day, you got to figure out what to do with that stuff.
Plumbers make the bank, man. They really do.
Plumbers, electricians.
We were at a dinner party last night, and two people there own big wine companies, and they told me if they get resumes in and they have a college degree, they put it at the bottom of the list.
It's terrible.
I said, "Are you serious?" They're like, "Yeah," and not because they just there's no experience. They want
just
people with
shows that you know how to
experience.
sit down for 4 years.
Yeah.
So can you sit down for 40? But it's like if I get someone that has food service experience, because with a philosophy degree, I've done a lot of bartending and waiting and short order cooking.
That's great.
I'm always like, well, this person knows how to work under stress. This person understands prioritizing.
Right.
If they've done front-facing customer service, like waiting tables, you can deal with angry people. Yeah. Right. So there's a lot of skills. You talk about soft skills that you can transfer to other jobs.
Right.
But knowing how to turn in a 5-page essay. Nowadays they just rip them off the internet anyway.
Yes,
so
I know.
There's different skills there. But, how about we do a comedy thing called Back in My Day? And it's mainly about just growing up in the 80s.
Well, that is a theme. People love podcasts that have to do with nostalgia.
Oh, really?
It was like it's trending. Yeah.
Really?
People just want nostalgia. They want to talk about what happened in childhood.
I have a theory about that because when you deal with tourism, you always have people who talk about things have changed. And you're like, well, everything changes, right? Back to philosophy, the very nature of existence is change, right? But what really people are saying is I am nostalgic for that time when I didn't have the same responsibilities.
Interesting.
And where things were taken care of for me. And my back didn't hurt all the time, right? Because people are like, things were better in the 80s. And you're like, dude, they were going to launch nuclear bombs at us. And we had to hide under desks. And so there is a nostalgia, but at the same time, it was like, it's just because your parents were stressed out and worried and you weren't because they were taking that on. So I think nostalgia has that kind of aspect to it, but it's a hell of a drug, Lisa. It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it really is. If people want to talk about what they did in high school, what they did in, elementary school, or just even memories from, pre-COVID, you know? So,
pre-COVID, Jesus.
Yeah, people always talk about that, don't you think?
PC, the one PC we can get behind, pre-COVID, guys. Yeah, because,
isn't that the topic? Like, every time, how are your shows doing? Well, pre-COVID, it's different from pre-COVID.
It's like before the end times.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're back. That's important. Well,
I know. It's so great to be back. And I mean, wasn't it weird? I mean, I was always wondering, I didn't come to Sonoma proper during all of COVID. And Carly and I would be like, let's
the 15-minute drive.
Yeah, I'd be like, let's drive down there and see what's going on. And we felt like, because we just stayed at
there were dragons. It was like a big hole.
Like who's walking the streets?
Exactly. Nothing happened. Well, for everyone listening, pre-COVID and post-COVID, Sonoma is nice, but we're back to almost exactly how it was before as far as business and things like that. Yeah. I'm hearing a lot more accents around the plaza, so the international people are back.
Oh, good.
And it's kind of exciting to kind of hear that, you know, and be like, oh, thank you for coming to our country and seeing how things are and really experiencing it. And again, it's sort of like when people go to a winery, like your comedians, they're so excited about seeing a grapevine.
Yes.
And like, isn't this amazing? And you have to kind of like, that's right, this is amazing. Aren't we lucky to be here?
So lucky to be here. I think that every day. I mean, I drive out onto Highway 12 from our home and I look and I just see the Kundi vineyards right there. And I'm like, wow, it's so incredible. Although we did drive out of there in a fire too. That was scary. You can edit that out.
Which never happens. It's not happening anymore.
Authenticity.
I know. All right. If people want more information about Crushers of Comedy, give me the website one more time.
Crushersofcomedy.com.
Crushersofcomedy.com. Get the information. Yeah. And if anybody wants information about Sonoma Valley, deals, special offers, sign up for emails, and find the calendar of events, including the Crushers of Comedy, go to sonomavalley.com. Remind all of you, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. It's either like, comment, subscribe, or follow us, or whatever it is, do it. And Lisa, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Tim. I just want to say one thing. You've always been a really big supporter of ours, and it really means a lot. It really does, you know. So thank you so much.
Well, hey, I love supporting it. You bet. Thanks, Lisa.